Leading up to its release, the hype for Predator Badlands wasn't all that, if we're honest. Many were put off by the look and dreads of the titular Predator, and in the days leading up to the opening, there were even rumors circulating among the would-be fanbase that there might even be a hint of romance between the Predator and the synth made in the guise of a human female. And since the shipper audience tends to consist of older cat ladies who will harass the real-life girlfriend of Adam Driver because they think she is in the way of their fantasy romance between Kylo Ren and Rey, this rumor also did not increase the desire to see the movie among those in the actual built-in audience. And then, adding further fuel to the dumpster fire of fan skepticism. A skepticism brought on not by Predator, but by everything else going woke and DEI in the past half a decade. The Hollywood Reporter tried to portray the movie, and therefore the franchise, as gay now, which also spread among the would-be fanbase. The irony here is that the Hollywood Reporter actually gave the movie a positive review, yet they still arguably damaged its box office by trying to will an era of queerness into it.
In the morning I step outside and I take a dip up and I get real high and I keep the top of my lungs. What's going on?
Bitches say shit and they ain't saying nothing. 100 motherfuckers can't tell me nothing. I be using the trap, be using the trap. I be using the trap.
All of this, of course, left the built-in Predator audience with one big question. Is this movie actually made for us, or is it made for a modern audience that doesn't exist? So pervasive was the disinformation here that I felt I couldn't comment on this until I had actually seen the movie for myself. Now that I have, I'm happy to report that all of this noise was just that, disinformation. Just like we heard from sources with connections behind the scenes, this movie is very clearly made with the fans in mind and with the intention of doing Predator right and the franchise justice. The movie follows a young predator, Deck, who is cursed with being born smaller than other predators, so he is the proverbial runt of the litter. He's still big for a human, but small by predator standards. Think of Tyrion Lannister, who is hated by his father for his stature, though he goes along well with his brother. That is Deck. He has something to prove, and to do that, he decided to take out the most ferocious, dangerous prey of all, namely the Kalisk, apex predator on its respective homeworld, Genna. But Weyland-Yutani, the evil corporation and makers of synths from the Alien franchise, also has a presence on Genna for their own purposes. And when I say presence, I mean synth presence, because Genna is way too much of a Gehenna for any actual humans to survive there. To wit, Deck encounters the damaged synth Thea. He won't hunt with her, as predators hunt alone, but he recognizes her as a man-made tool, and that is good and fair to utilize for his own purposes. Unbeknownst to him, however, Thea has her own agenda, so the question is, who is using who? I won't give any further spoilers beyond this setup, but I will say that there is no overt wokeness, and no hint of a romance between the predator and the robot made in the likeness of a human female. The score is badass and memorable, much more so than what we got with Tron Ares for one, and the only reason it got a PG-13 rating is because the MPAA doesn't mind when it's alien creatures and robots being mauled and dismembered. Because if you were to disregard tone and just consider the acts of violence themselves, this may actually be one of the most brutal Predator movies of all. To be clear, that doesn't mean that I agree with all the creative choices they have made here. The movie goes a little bit too far into the rejects create a new family unit territory for me. Overall though, this is the third best Predator movie for me, behind the original and Predators. And to those who wonder, what about Predator 2? All I can say is, sorry, I actually rank this above that. Because I had read the fantastic Dark Horse Comics Predator miniseries Concrete Jungle before I saw Predator 2. And since that comic book is so similar to the movie, only so much better, I was always tremendously disappointed by the movie. and therefore prefer both Predators, and now Predator Badlands, to it. Predator Badlands is not without flaws, far from it, but everyone from director Dan Trachtenberg to the writers and producers have very clearly had their heart in the right place while making this. It is therefore a shame that the Hollywood trades, whether deliberately or unconsciously, goes out of their way to sabotage the movie, which we have seen examples of before, most recently with James Gunn's Superman. As we covered at the time, the Hollywood trades went out of their way to claim that the movie was woke, pro-Palestine, anti-Trump and anti-MAGA, reading all of that into the movie and trying their absolute best to manufacture controversy for the talent to respond to, hoping that would give them the headlines and narratives they so desperately wanted.
You said it's an immigrant story, it's a political movie. MAGA today is going nuts. What do you have to say to MAGA?
I don't have anything. I think this movie's for everybody. I don't have anything to say to anybody. Like, I'm not here to judge people, you know. I think this is a movie about kindness, and I think that's something everyone can relate to.
We saw that here with Predator Badlands as well, where it was the Hollywood Reporter, one of the major industry trades and opinion leaders, trying to shape the narrative surrounding the movie. In their official review, writer Richard Lawson wrote, "Elle Fanning is a lovable robot BFF to the sweetest Predator yet in a deft, disarmingly kind-hearted franchise entry. It would honestly have been better for the movie if they had given it a negative review than to use that as the title. The only thing missing here was claiming that the Predator was LGBTQIAP+, though that did come in the main body of the review, where it reads, "Some viewers might miss the macho brutality of Predator's past, but Deck's adventures in self-confidence and chosen family may well satisfy plenty of others," subtly opining that this movie isn't for the built-in fans, before continuing, "This Predator is queer and we should say it." By we, the Hollywood Reporter means we, the wokerati elite and dwellers of the Hollywood bubble that have completely and utterly destroyed the entertainment landscape in the name of DEI. We should proclaim this queer. Well, if they do, that's pretty homophobic of them, because the movie makes it abundantly clear that there is something overtly and immediately visibly wrong with Deck. It's not just that the other Predators see him as broken and less than. The Wayland Yutani synths also instantly recognize that this particular specimen is physically deviant, borderline disabled by Predator standards, and of no use to them. I mean, that goes a little bit against the usual messaging where Hollywood is concerned, no? Because make no mistake about it, the intention from the filmmakers is that Deck suffers from Predator dwarfism, not Predator queerness. Even thinking along those lines is being desperate to read a message into a work that isn't there. The write-up continues, "I'm mostly kidding, but it is disarming to see one of these movies from a gentler and cuddlier perspective, where the first two films in the franchise, from the 1980s, were such relentlessly grim and gory affairs." No, he wasn't kidding. He meant it. He wants this to be gay so bad. Tonally, I agree with the assessment that this is nothing like the best of the earlier installments, but again, the brutality is getting a pass because it isn't happening to flesh and blood humans, as there actually aren't any in the movie. The Hollywood Reporter desperately wants Deck to be gay though, to the point where the review later on includes nuggets like, "Deck, who loves Cher and muscle magazines, I assume anyway, says the reviewer," and later on about his motivation, "Desperate to prove his mettle, Deck seeks out a terrifying creature of Yautja lore, determined to be the first of his kind to slay it. He also has to find an apartment on Christopher Street for less than $700 a month." Really? I get that the reporter will say that he's only trying to be funny, but to me, this is far more insidious. This isn't some rando blog. This is an actual industry trade, publishing a review several days before the movie came out, before any audiences had actually seen it, to counter this overt disinformation. Again, I am not defending all of the creative choices made in the movie, far from it. But this is an example of Hollywood trying to push a narrative that they like, in a time where entertainment has been destroyed by that narrative, meaning these jokes may very well shave millions of the movie's box office. Considering how badly Hollywood has destroyed itself over the past few years, you'd think they would want the audience to come back, but I guess not. Let me know why you think the Hollywood trade would want to do this, and what you thought about the movie in the comments.